Hello everybody and welcome to a Point Convert 3D video tutorial. I'm Chris Higginbotham and today I'm going to show you how to turn this 2D source image into motion graphics using the 2.5D technique and also then converting that into stereoscopic gold. So feast your eyes on this for a little bit and then I'll get started. First thing we need to do is break the original image down into layers and create rotos and clean plates. As you can see, I've created 4 different layers: the ball, the tether, the pole, and the base. I chose to use Photoshop, but you can use any image manipulation software you'd like. Next, we're going to open up a new session of Blender, and we're going to be using the Point Convert 3D plugin. This plugin is available at pointconvert3d.com. First, we're going to go up to the top. This area is what we call the import section. And then we're going to select the little file icon. And we're going to navigate to our layers that we rendered out of Photoshop. So I saved these images out as PNGs because we want to use the alpha. So first one I'm going to import is the ball. So I'm going to uncheck the image sequence checkbox because we're just doing a single image here. Boom. So as you can see, it imported with its alpha. Real nice. And then, so I'm going to import all of my layers. So next I'm going to import the tether. Then I'm going to import the pole. And lastly, I'm going to import the base. Alright, looks like we have all of our layers imported. So after we have all our layers imported, I'm going to hit A to select them all, and then I'm going to hit hotkey M and place it on this layer group back here. But now I'm going to turn on all the layers, and then the first thing I want to convert is the ball layer. So I'm going to select the ball layer, and then I'm going to hit M, and I'm going to put that on the second to the left. The ball is the most important part of this original source image, so we're going to make this the most detailed layer. So what I'm going to do is pull this very close to the camera, and I'm going to hit the tab key and go into edit mode. And then I'm going to look through the camera. I'm going to create a mesh around the ball using the knife tool. So hotkey K. I'm going to start placing points around the ball. And the idea around this is to try and make it as symmetrical as possible. So I'm going to hit that over there, hit spacebar to close that out, and then I'm just going to do some quick adjustments. Here we go, and then I'm going to hit hotkey K, and I'm going to close this off here. And then I'm going to do another middle ring around there. So I'm going to keep the same number of points, and then as we move in, we'll make less. So I'm going to hit hotkey K, and then I want this to be semi-close to the edge, because this is where I want to get a lot of volume, and by having these points closer, it allows me to get that rounding off of the edge. I do want to try and keep it as uniform to those around the edge as possible. I don't want to close that. So I want these points to be the same distance approximately as these points over here. So I'm going to hit hotkey K and close off this edge here. So now I'm going to do the next inner, I'll do one more loop, and then I'll have a single middle point. So I'm going to hit hotkey K. And then I'm probably going to start closing up some of these by using triangles. So I'm going to something like this. Then I might do a quick adjustment. I don't want this to be too centered, and I want it to be even on both sides. And the reason I want it too centered is because I want it to be a little bit flat on the top. So now I'm just going to go through and start closing off. I'm going to move all of these down a bit. Maybe the same thing with this side. Alright, so now using hotkey K, I'm going to just start closing off some of these points. And then using hotkey spacebar to close it out. Making minor adjustments as I go. There we go. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Oh, there we go. Then I'm going to get one last center point. I'm going to connect all this stuff to. Alright, now we have our mesh, and I'm going to delete the extra faces on this image plane from around it. So boom, boom, delete faces. Cool, then I'm going to go back to object mode. I'm going to kind of shimmy around, and then this is where we go back to the plugin, and we're going to make sure we're going to uncheck auto mask. This feature is mainly used for image sequences, and we're going to keep key Z current frame, and you'll see that why. I'll explain that later. So I'm going to hit the convert button. Boom. Alright, so now as you can see, we have a group control that allows us to pull all the points forward and backwards, and then each individual point is now controllable also. So in order to control these points and to build this out in space, I'm going to create a graph editor over here. I'm going to close it so I just see this, and then I'm going to zoom out. using the scroll to about there, about 80. Probably put this, oh, I'll put it down here for now. So the reason we had the key Z on current frame, it will key the Z on every point, and that's good because that's how we can control it using the graph editor. So if it wasn't keyed, we'd have to go in and key all these before we would see them in the graph editor. Alright, so I'm going to use the hotkey C to use the selection tool, and I'm going to select all of the points except for the outside ring. I'm going to right click to get rid of it, and then I'm going to go back into 3D space, and using hotkey G and Y, I'm going to start building this out. So that first one, I really want to emphasize the side of the ball, so I want it to be kind of extreme. We can always adjust this later. So now I'm going to go back to the camera view. I'm going to hit A to unselect them all, and then I'm going to hit C and select the next kind of rings. Oh, we'll select everything except for the outer two rings. And I'm going to right click to get out of that tool. And then I'm going to, on the graph editor, use the hotkey G and Y to pull this next section out a little. So I'll probably end up bringing that back section in a little, but just do a couple tweaks. Hit G and Y, pull out the center just a tad. Hold down the shift key for more fine tune. Alright, yeah, so that I want to push in the inner area, so I'm going to go back to the camera view. I'm going to hit hotkey A and then C. Make this a little bigger and select everything except for that outside ring again. Right click, get out of there. And I'm going to hit G and Y. Just bring it in a tad. Alright. So basically that's the ball. So now what I'm going to do is a little refinement. So point convert automatically puts, well, first I'm going to drop down into the ball group. I'm going to go down to the ball.convert because that's the actual mesh. I'm going to turn it on so I can select it. So now with that selected, I'm going to go into the modifier panel. And so we automatically add this modifier upon convert, and that's the multi-res. So in order to get more of a ball shape, I'm going to subdivide this out a bunch. And then I'm going to go into the view, and I'm going to turn off the wire and draw all edges. I'm going to go back to the modifier. I'm going to turn it from simple to Catmull Clark. So, boom. As you can see, that gets us a little more ball shape. I kind of think we still need to bring it in. It's a little bulgy here, so I'm going to hit 0. I'm going to select this middle ring. I'm going to hit G and Y. And just bring that in a tad. Pump this back up. Hit 0. Basically now I'm just doing some tweaking to get the ball shape. So G and Y, or not. So always turn the preview down. We can keep it on like 1. G and Y. G and Y. Alright, good enough. Nice. Alright. So another thing I want to do is keep all my layers organized. So I'm going to take, make this mesh unselectable. And I'm going to select all of my control points and the group control. And then I'm going to hit Hotkey M. And one more time. And drop it the one beneath. And I just find this is easier, especially when your layers start stacking up, is to easily have their viewability on one and their controllability on another, so that we stay organized. So next thing's next, we're going to turn on the rest of the layers, and then we're going to go and do our next layer, which will be the base. I'm just doing it kind of by like the most difficult to the easiest. So the base is pretty simple. So I'm going to grab that layer. Well, I'm going to make sure I actually grab that layer. Then I'm going to hit Hotkey M. I'm going to put that on the third one. So, boom. Make that. Actually, I'm just going to make that the only viewable one. I'm going to keep this kind of far back from the ball to get that full 3D effect. So I'm going to turn the ball back off. Then I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to look through the camera. And then I'm going to go to hit tab to go into edit mode. And then I'm going to hit K for the knife tool and start building out my mesh. So same thing here as we did on the ball. I'm going to start building basic shapes. Don't want to do that. Hit spacebar, hit K, close this out. I'm going to go back to vertice mode so I can see my vertices. And then I'm going to do the next layer up here. And I want these top points to correspond with the points down here. Just go around. Doesn't have to be too intricate. This is kind of a background item, so we can get less detailed the further we go back, because the less the viewer will see with that stuff. So next I'm going to go through and close all these points off. There we go. And we're also gonna need a top point. So I'm just gonna make one point in the center here and then connect everything to that. Slight adjustment. Pretty much got this down. So next thing I'm going to do is delete these extra faces. So I'm going to select this, delete faces. Go back to vertice mode. Alright. That looks good. Alright, that looks good. So I'm going to hit tab and go back to object mode. So that looks good. Now I'm going to hit the convert button. So it might take a little bit longer. There's a good amount of vertices. There we go. So same as with the ball, as you can see, we have our group control, and then each individual point can now be volumized. So on an object like this, I'll probably build it, keep that center in the middle, and build forward and backwards. I want to kind of turn on the ball so we know approximately the scale of this object in accordance with the ball. So going into the, using the looking through the camera, I'm gonna hit A to unselect, and then I'm gonna hit hotkey C, and I'm going to grab all these back regions, and then right click. I'm gonna G and Y over here. Hold that back approximately there. And then I'll start moving individual areas forward to kind of create our shape. All right. Nice, nice. Look through the camera. So I'm gonna grab, using the select tool, these front ones. I'm gonna hit GY. Oops. I'm gonna Control Z that. Hit A. Select these front ones. And pull it out. Proportionate to the back, or try to be proportionate to the back. we'll go with that. I'll do some tweaking in a second. So now I'm gonna select the next row, GY. Go with the next row. I think that's the next row. Yep. GY. Go with the next row. GY. So it looks like I'm gonna come in here and do a little bit of tweaking. Grab these, get a little more space in the back. Alright, well, good enough. So, well, one last thing, I'm going to pull out this bottom lip just a bit. GY. Maybe not these ones. Really, all this feels just a little too far. Let's get all right. Alright, I'll stop. I'll call that good enough. Alright. Awesome, so now we're going to do the same thing here where awesome. So now what we're going to do is select everything and organize it. So I'm going to hit M and I'm going to place it underneath where we have the main mesh. So as you can see, we have our control, and then our main layer, and then the control, and then blah blah blah. So now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna select the base group, and then I'm gonna go down to the base convert. I'm gonna turn the selection on. That way we can select the mesh. Now I'm gonna use that same multi-res modifier, and I'm gonna subdivide this a bunch of times until I can't see it. And the reason we do this is to maintain accuracy of the 2D source, along with how we used it over here to kind of clean up the mesh. So then I'm going to go back in here, turn off wireframe, and draw all edges. Unselect it. So now, as you can see, we have the base, and we have, well, let's turn the ball on. So we can select both objects. With this, I'll probably drop down the preview to like 2, so we don't slow down the session. Alright, that's looking good. So also I'm going to go in here and I'm going to save this file so I don't lose it. Save as tutorial Tether Tut version 01. Alright, awesome. So next thing we're going to do is the poll, which should be really easy. So I'm going to turn on all the layers so I can see them, and I'm going to grab the poll layer, make sure I have the poll layer, and then push this into place. So as you can see, this would probably work as is. I'm just going to add a real simple mesh to it, so that we can get a little depth, but it should be real simple. So I'm going to hit hotkey M and put this on a new layer. Then I'm going to turn just that on along with the camera. And I'm going to hit 0 to look through the camera. And then I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode. And then I'm going to hit K to start the knife tool. So I'm basically just going to split this in half. So, well, first I'll create a mesh around it. Also, you want to make sure that when you're creating these meshes on the outside, you don't want to be close. You want to leave a bit of a gap because your alpha will take care of this, and you don't want to cut off any of your original image. So next I'm going to use the knife tool again, hotkey K, and just split this down the middle. Hit spacebar to close it out. Then go into face mode, select the face around it, hit delete. Faces. Boom. Tab, go back out to object mode. So then I'm going to hit convert. Bam. I'm going to turn on our other layer so I can see what's going on. So I'm going to select this group, kind of put it to the back edge. Of its little spot. And then I'm going to turn the base off. Hit 0, select or not select. Select my 2 middle points. Turn the base back on. And then in the graph editor, hit GY. Pull this. a little bit forward, and then I'm going to use the group to center it. Bam! As we see. So then I'm going to hit, well, I'm going to turn just the pole on. I'm going to hit A, select all my controls, hit M to organize, and I'm going to place this in the layer beneath that. So now I have all my controls. Then I'm going to go to the pole group, turn on the .convert so that we can select the mesh. Then we're going to go into our multi-res modifier, and I'm going to subdivide this so I can't hardly see it. Then I'm going to turn off the wire and draw edges. And then I'm going to turn the preview down to like, one's fine, who cares. Alright, so there we go. That layer is done. So now we have the pole, the base, and the ball. All we need is the tether to finish this out. Oops. So I'm going to keep all those on. So as we can see, we're going to have to cover a lot of ground, and we're going to kind of want this curve into the tether. So keep that in mind as we start building our mesh. So I'm going to turn just the mesh and the camera groups on, or layers on, and then now I'm going to go view through camera 0, and then hit tab to go into edit mode. And then I'm going to hit K, and then start building my mesh. And so as you can see, there's a little extra section that I didn't fully erase, but we can use the mesh to just cut that out also. So I will do that. So I'm going to go around here and start just building sections off, getting longer as we go back more, and then ending in just one distinct point. Alright. So I do want to kind of round this around. So I'm going to add a couple middle sections, and then they'll dissipate as it gets back to this one point. Well, I'm going to go back into vertice mode so I can see where the points are. Hit hotkey K. Do a slight adjustment so make sure I don't end up missing anything. Nice. Alright. So now I'm gonna do this middle section. And eventually I want to make it just one middle line instead of the two. So we'll decide a good section to bring, probably right here. So now I'm just going to go through and close off these points. And alright, now I'm going to delete our extra faces. Delete faces. Bam. Tab, go back out into object mode. Nice. So now I'm going to hit convert. Then I'm going to turn on the other layers so I can see what's going on. Then I'm going to use C to select this first row. And then I'm going to start pulling it forward. I'm going to keep this single point at the top of the pole and then just start pulling towards the ball. So I'm going to grab the next row, or A, C, grab the next row, GY, A, C, right click to get out of there, GY, C, GY, oops, Control Z, A, C, right click, GY, A, C, right click, GY, see, all the while I'm trying to work on this slow curve to the pole. A, C, right click, GY, so then I'm going to grab this final point, GY, get that lined up best as possible. Yeah, that works. Alright, so in order to curve this backside back, I'm going to select just these outside. Well, I think back once we get that far, we'll be good. So then I'm going to hit GY. Well, I'm going to right click. Then I'm going to A first, C to select. Oops, shift. Alright. GY. Maybe bring these further ones in a little. Then I'm going to do the same with the other side. Right click GY. Alright. So then I'm going to select just the tether. I want to bring... So I'm going to just have the tether, hit A, M, organize. Then I'm going to go into the tether group, make it selectable. So now it's selectable. I'm going to go down to my multi-res, subdivide. Subdivide a few times. On this one, I might also try the Catmull Clark. Kind of smooth out our edges. It looks pretty good. And then turn this down. Hit A. Turn on my other layers and see what we got. Nice. So, as you can see here, we have fully taken a 2D source image and we've converted it into a 3D space. So now our next step is to create another camera and animate it within the scene. And then we also can use a stereoscopic camera rig add-on and render out in stereoscopic 3D. Alright, now that we've completed all the layers in the conversion process, we're going to go ahead and set up another camera to do motion graphics and do the 2.5D technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is make this camera selectable. Then I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. And I'm going to rename this 2.5D. And then I'm going to make the original camera non-selectable again. So I only want this to be 100 frames or so, so I'm going to knock this back to 100 frames. And then I'm going to, I want it to end around the same place it's currently at. So I'm going to go to the last frame, and I'm going to hit in. And then I'm going to add some keys on insert keyframes on location and rotation. And I'm going to come over here to this window and I'm going to make this a 3D view. And then I'm going to undo that toolbar, hit 0, so I'm viewing through the camera. Then you also want to change the viewable camera to the 2.5D, so I'm going to hit Control 0, and now I'll be seeing what I do with this camera. So then I'm going to go back to my first frame. I'm going to pull this camera back a bit. Set a key on location and rotation. Then I'm going to go to around frame 30-ish. And I'm going to pull this really close. so. Maybe just more like to the center. And go real extreme. And then I'm going to key that also. So right now I'm just setting up my preliminary keys. I'll go back and tweak these later. Then go to around 35. Maybe bounce it back out to a little bit further like that. That's good. I'm going to set my keys again. So now I just want to kind of demonstrate the ability of 2.5D. So we're currently only limited to our clean plates and rotos. So that's the only thing you gotta kind of watch out for. So I'm gonna zoom in a little here, but then I'm gonna add some rotation to the camera. Just show you what it can do. So you just want to make sure you're not going out of the range of where your clean plate is. So for instance, you wouldn't want to come out here and see like half a ball. That's a little way too extreme. But you can come around to the side a good bit and get a better view of the tetherball and the tether. So I'm gonna, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna hit insert keys. Well, first I should probably go to a different key frame and then do that same thing. So that might be a little too extreme. So normally we would also be limited to the outside edge of our clean plate background, but since this one is just white, we'll just add that in when we do our render. So I'm going to insert keyframe here. Insert keyframe. Then I'm going to go a few more frames and go to the other side just to kind of demonstrate that. Maybe do a little tilt on this too. And I'm going to insert keyframes, So play it back. It's playing kind of slow. So I'm going to take each of these pieces and I'm going to drop down their preview to 0 so that we can get it to play at a normal speed. It'll still render at the correct subdivide. It's just going to slow us down when we're viewing. So do that, and now I'm going to hit play. So now it's playing at a full 24 frames per second. So as you can see, I set up a real easy camera animation. You can play around with it further. I got a file here where I added a little bit more bounce to it. So this is what I found out of. You can play around more with the camera animation. I'm not going to go any further into that. Now I'm going to show you how to set up the stereoscopic camera rig, and that's real simple also. So I'm going to go back to this file here, and so setting up the stereoscopic camera rig is as easy as just using the camera rig plugin. It's officially called. So it's stereoscopic camera. You can find this at www.noeol.de/S3D, or just Google Blender stereoscopic camera rig. It goes into a lot of detail about what it actually is. So it's real simple to use. All you have to do is go over to the camera, and then I'm going to set in some settings that I've already worked with. And I'm going to put those in, and then I'm going to hit set stereo camera. So as you can see, the zero parallax is way back here, but it's going to travel along with the camera. So we will get the benefit. I just want to make sure it doesn't go too far. So we'll get the benefit of all that coming through. So basically that's it. As long as you get down, I'm not going to go too far into stereoscopic rendering and all that. I just want to mainly cover how to do the actual conversion, and then show you simply how easy it is to add in a stereoscopic camera rig and also to create the motion graphic renders. Thanks everybody. You can get this plugin again at pointconvert3d.com. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to have future follow-up tutorials also. Thank you.